You hear me? Pay attention. Don't be distracted. Get away from your friends if they're distracting. All right? Tell me. Wow, let's take a look at number 2. The biggest problem with number 2 is that it was a little bit harder because the factors were more. All right? But take a look at it. All right? And I know just having the answer doesn't help. Right? But you see what I'm saying as far as 2x times 3x is what? 6x squared. I always try to tell kids, look at the middle factors. All right, so I'm going to highlight something here. You see if you understand what I'm saying. 2x times 3x is that 6x squared, correct? Now I'm looking at the factors of 12. All right, the factors of 12. We're starting with the middle factors, 4 and 3. Now, the next thing you're doing is, remember, you're doing your little smiley face stuff. 9x and 8x makes 17x. You with me on this now? Yeah. You see it? Yeah. Now, once you factor it, we should just automatically know the answer then. Does everybody agree with that? Yeah. Right? Because you're just solving a two-step equation. All right? Just solving a two-step equation.
Oh, 20.
All right, jumping to 20. Here we go. Now, how many solutions are there?
4.
There are 4 fundamental counting, or not fundamental counting principle, but the fundamental theorem of algebra. The exponent tells you the number of solutions. All right? So if I have x to the 4th, I better have what? 4 solutions. You're supposed to be able to factor x squared minus 9 and x squared minus 1. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Anybody have an issue on that? And then you factor what? X squared minus 9. You factor that into x plus 3x minus 3. And then x squared minus 1 factors to x plus 1, x minus 1. Everybody with me on this? You understand that?
Yeah.
All right. What?
Yeah,
Okay. So now here's another thing. Again, mathematicians are efficient. All right. So instead of writing x equals plus 3, x equals negative 3, we just write x equals, listen to how I'm saying this, plus or minus 3. Everybody agree with that? Or x equals plus or minus 1. That's just a quick way of saying the positive and the what? Negative. All right? You need to see that. That is a symbol that will be used a lot. Yes. All right, let's try 38. All right, now the problem with 38 is, first of all, it's not set equal to 0. Do you agree with that? So we've got to set it equal to 0. But the problem is, right off the bat, this right here. So I've got to distribute the x. When I distribute the x, that will be 3x squared plus x equals x squared plus 6. Do you agree with that? Now you got to set it equal to 0. So I move the x squared over, and when I move it over, it becomes a what? Negative. All right, so that becomes a what? 2x squared. Anybody have any issue with that? Now I have to move the what? The plus 6 over. When I move the plus 6 over, it becomes minus 6. But can I combine the x and the 6? No. Does the x change? No. And there you have it. You with me on that, James? And now it's just a matter of factoring that. So we have 2x and x. Then we have 4 and 3 plus minus. X equals 3/2 or x equals negative 2. It's not hard. Yes?
Why is it plus 6? I mean, plus x minus 6. 2x squared plus.
Oh, okay. So do you agree I moved the 6 over? When I moved the 6 over, it became what? Negative. When I moved the x squared over, it became negative.
Well, why did you try? Because it doesn't have anything to attach.
Can't combine them with anything. Yes.
Do you do 32?
You got a question on that?
Yeah, are you supposed to switch shouldn't the negative be in front of the 2 instead of in front of the 3?
That would make me what?
A positive.
That would make me wrong. You
But-
agree with that?
No, because then you would add the 3.
So let me see if I'm right. I could be wrong. This is how much?
4x.
And this is,
Oh,
oh, okay.
sorry.
Anybody else? What did you say?
32.
32. Let's take a look at 32. It's not equal to 0, right? So I throw the 2x over and throw the 24 over. That's why it becomes x squared minus 2x minus 24. You agree with that, Mary Ellen, or not?
Yeah.
Can you go from there?
Yeah. Why didn't you put the x squared?
Because the leading coefficient, it's easier to factor if it's positive. You with me? You could actually put the x squared over, but it's just harder to factor, trust me. What?
30.
30. Okay, this one's a little bit different. All right, does everybody see how 0 is an obvious answer? 0 squared times 2 minus 8 times 0 has to be what? 0. Right? I mean, that's just an obvious answer, right? But again, there is a what in this particular case, though? GCF. There's a GCF in that problem. Everybody happy with that? Yes, it would be 2a. Very good. So this is 2a right here. And what's left behind? A minus 4. Do you agree? So then you set the factors equal to 0. 2a equals 0. A minus 4 equals 0. Good for you. What?
Oh, how does the 2a equals 0 just become an a equals 0?
Because, again, I just tried to show you right there. Do you see? Solve that equation. 2 times what is 0?
Oh, but also that's all you have to do.
Come on, make yourself a note on that. That's hard. All right, 26. Now, again, let me just wipe this clean real quick so I can make it clear. Is that one should be a really what? Easy, very simple. The reason why it's easy and simple is because it's first set equal to 0 and it's already what? It's already factored for us. So all you do is set the factors equal to 0. Pickens, you with me?
Yeah.
Good. Set the factors equal to 0. X equals 0, right? 4x plus 1 equals 0. 7x minus 8 equals 0. You with me on this or not?
Yeah.
That makes totally good sense. All right. Yes.
Can you do 34?
34. There you have it. Subtract 49 from both sides.
Oh, okay.
Then you factor. And again, you could write x equals 7 or x equals negative 7, or you can say what? He just showed me a quick way to write it. X equals plus or minus 7. James. Now, the reason people miss 36, they just weren't patient. They just weren't patient, that's all. Those of you guys got that right, you're in good shape as far as factoring goes. All right, James, do you see it now?
Yeah.
Just annoying. 100% annoying.
What got it right?
Why is that, like, surprising? What?
Do you have number 26?
I'm back to 26.
How do you, like, it's already set up, but how do you know you have to have 3? Because isn't it one, like,
How many x's are there? 3. If I multiply x times x, I get what? X cubed. That's how I know there's 3. Michael, you all right?
Yeah.
You know how to do it all now? Got it all worked out? What?
I just still don't understand why you need the x equals 0.
Okay, so listen to me. Here's what I want to show you. Look right here. You ready?
Yeah.
If I said, and that's a common question, if I said a times b times c equals 0, what has to be true? That's 100% correct. One of them has to be 0.
Okay.
Now, what I want you to do is, right now, I want you to visualize if I let x equals 0, this right here is 0. Do you agree? 0 times anything is going to be what? I don't care what these numbers are. You see me now, right? All right, that's all we're doing.
Why are there three solutions?
Well, because that's what we were just talking about. This right here is 1x, 2 x's, 3 x's. So there's 3 solutions.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. Last question.
Can you do 16?
I'm going to try my best, okay?
All right.
Here we go. Yeah, this one's tricky for you. All right, it's called factoring by grouping. You with me? Anytime you see 4 terms, you factor by grouping. So factor by grouping means you group them this way. You hear me? Now, what's common with ax minus 4a? There's a common a. So I pulled out the a. The x minus 4 was left behind. Agreed? Now we're looking over here. And what's common here? A negative 3. So remember, when you pull out a negative, the signs have to change. That's why it becomes x minus 4. Do you hear me? Now, what is common with this and this? There's a common what? X minus 4. You agree with that? And then a minus 3 is left behind. Right? So now don't put x equals 4 and x equals 3. Put x equals 4 or what? A equals 3. All right? So that's a little bit harder right there, guys. No doubt. A little bit harder. All right. Perfect. End. All right. Now, again, the word problems. Very simple. All right. If you know how to solve a quadratic, these are easy. What's the hard part? Setting them up. So here we go. The sum of a number and its square. How do I write the sum of a number and its square? Give it a shot. Somebody.
Is it just x squared?
And?
Equals 56.
No, tell them.
X plus x squared.
You're awesome. That's what I'm telling you. If you do some work daily, you would be awesome. All right, listen to what he said. The sum. Sum means to do what? You're adding two things together. We're adding what? A number and its square. And that is what? Come on, guys. That was not that hard. Look at that over now. X and x squared equals 56. What?
Do we have to say what it is?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, see,
Like, say it's 7. Yeah.
Right now we're going to find the numbers. We're actually going to solve it. What?
how do you get x and x squared?
The sum of a number. What number are we talking about? Do we have any idea?
No, so x, how do you get x squared?
And
Squares.
there you go. I read the problem. How about that? All right. Here we go. Now, quadratic must be set equal to 0. So here we go. X squared plus x minus 56 equals 0. Everybody happy with that? Now we have to do what?
Solve it, factor it.
Factor into what? X what?
X plus 8. Oh.
X plus 8, x minus 7. Thank you. And so the number could have been what? Negative 8 or 7. There you go, guys. Come on, that's not that hard. Not hard at all. All right, give me an example of 2 consecutive odds. Any 2 consecutive odds.
3 and 5.
3 and 5. 11 and 13. 7 and 9.
37.
All right, now how do you get from one odd to the next odd? What? By what? Going up 2. So you have 2 numbers. So the first number is unknown. That's x. So the second number would be what? Stop.
Up 2.
You're not going to write up 2 down. You're going to write what?
143.
You're going to write
Plus 2.
it's like 2 right answers in one day, man.
Two
What are you doing, Connor? You're ruining your reputation, man. It's going down the tank. X and X plus 2. That's how you write consecutive odds. How do you write consecutive evens? X and X plus 2.
Wait.
So consecutive odds and consecutive evens are written the same. Why? Because to get from one even to the next even, you just do what? Add 2. To get from one odd to the next odd, you add what? You add 2. The biggest mistake kids make is they think that you're adding 3 or adding 1. Just think about it logically. From 1 to 3, you add 2. The adding 2 has nothing to do with it being odd or even. Now, if I said consecutive numbers, it would be X and X plus 1. Very good. Because to get from 7 to 8, you just do what? Add 1. To get to an even, you add 2. To get to an odd, you add 2. All right? So now, what does this mean? Whose product? Multiply them together. So X times X plus 2 has to equal 143. After you distribute, because you haven't made it a quadratic yet. So from there, X squared plus 2X equals 143. And if you want to do that in the same step, that's okay. So it would be X squared plus 2X minus 143 equals 0. Now the question is, what times what is 143? Now listen, 11 and, wow, brilliant. 11 and 13. Now, again, I would like for you to realize that the numbers are separated by what? 2. So you could say like 5 and 7. That's 35. Is everybody with me? 7 and 9. 9 and 11. 11 and 13. Does everybody see that now? All right? So if that's the case, you would factor that to what?
X minus 11.
X minus 11? Wow. Wow. Here we go. All right, so my final answer is X could equal
11 or negative 13.
11 or negative 13. Now, again, that's not the answer, so you got to stay with me. X equals 11 or X equals negative 13. It says find the numbers. So the numbers are 11 and 13. Or it could be negative 13 and negative 11. All right, take a quick look at that. Those are 2 sets of solutions. 2 sets of solutions.
So why'd you make the 143 negative minus? Yeah.
Because I moved it from the right side to the left side.
Oh, yeah.
Switch the signs. Quickly.
Why don't you do that for the one above it?
Well, because it's just one number that we're talking about. X equals negative 8 works. If I take negative 8 and add it to negative 8 squared, that's going to be 56.
Oh, okay.
If I take 7 and add it to 7 squared, that's going to be 56. You with me? These are the 2 consecutive odd integers that when I multiply them together get 143. You with me now? All right, let's have some more fun. All right, 41. Here we go. It says the length of the rectangle is 5 centimeters less than twice the width. All right, so what we're going to do real quick is we're going to try to draw a rectangle. All right, try if you can. All right, so here we go. There's my rectangle. The length is 5 centimeters less than twice the width. So the width I'm going to put as X. And the length then would be what?
15.
Somebody tell me what the length would be.
Negative 5?
What?
It's 5.
Stop. Someone tell me something.
5 centimeters less.
Say it again.
X squared.
No,
X-
is it 15 or is it?
X
Stop.
squared minus
88.
5.
Is it 20? It's 20, isn't it?
Twice. What does twice mean?
10.
Oh,
It's
X
10.
times
It's 10. It's 10.
X times 2.
2x.
What?
Oh,
You guys are killing me.
How is it?
2x minus 5.
Wait.
So the length is 5 centimeters less than twice the width.
Oh.
If the width is unknown, the length would be 2x minus 5.
Why is the
Okay, I know some of you are going to not very good at reading, but let me just point this out. Twice.
Okay, I'm sorry, my bad.
Twice. Twice means times 2. Most days, yes. All right, here we go. Now, it says the area of the rectangle is 88. So to find the area, you always just multiply the length times the width. So x times 2x minus 5 equals 88. Anybody have an issue with that? All right. So now, just like the good old days, distribute 2x squared minus 5x equals 88. 2x squared minus 5x minus 88 equals 0. All right, now we got to try to factor this. All right. So here we go, 2 sets of parentheses. The only way to make 2x squared, 2x and x. Factors of 88, I would probably start with 11 and 8. Where does 8 have to go? On the right. 11 goes over here. And look how simple it's becoming. All right, I have 11 and 16, which makes negative 5 if the 8 is
Negative.
and the 11 is
Positive.
all right, so now we're solving this. X equals negative 11 over 2 or x equals 8. What's wrong with negative 11 over 2?
It's a fraction.
Good. Distance can't be negative. Distance can't be negative. You can't measure something negative 11 over 2. So that is again called an extraneous solution. So that is out. So x equals 8. You're just not letting me finish. So just listen for a second. I solved it. It says x equals 8. Now I'm going back and I'm reading the directions. The directions say find the dimensions. So the width is what? 8 centimeters. And the length is equal to 11 centimeters. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All you're doing is plugging 2 times 8 minus 5. All right. Now, some of you guys are pretty good at figuring out the numbers. Listen, I make the numbers easy because I don't want the factors to be obnoxious. Is everybody with me on that? Or I can make it really hard. Does everybody agree? I can make the factoring very difficult, but that's not what I'm testing you on. I'm testing you on right now whether you know how to set up the equation. Is everybody with me? The quadratic. All right, so you're not going to just give me the answers and say, well, I did it by process of elimination. I just guess and check. That's not going to be a solution. All right, you're not going to get full credit for just writing down 8 and 11. All right, does everybody hear me? This is the process I'm interested in. This right here. Plus, it's not that hard. If you know how to solve a quadratic, setting them up is a little tricky, but after you do it 4 or 5 or 100 times, you're in good shape. All right, continuing on. Find 2 numbers that total 12 and whose squares total 74. What does that mean? That means if you total them, that means you're what? You're adding them together. So here's what I'm thinking. X plus Y has to equal what? 12. And then I want their what? Squares to equal what? So that would be X squared plus Y squared equals what? 74. All right, now listen, I really need your attention on this, please. I really want you to listen carefully to me. All right? We did systems of equations where they were just lines. Soon I'm going to teach you what a quadratic looks like. But right now, this is a little bit more advanced. All right? I have to write y equals 12 minus x. Does everybody understand how I got y equals 12 minus x? All I did was, come on, no reason, no time to daydream. I'm doing something hard. So I have y equals 12 minus x. Anybody have any issues with that? Now watch. This is the hard part. I now am making a substitution. I am replacing 12 minus x into the y. Exactly correct. So I'm putting 12 minus x in for what? Y, because they are equal. All right, so here's the next step. X squared plus, open parentheses, 12 minus x squared equals 74. Now that's the hard part right there. So everybody look up and make sure you understand that difficult problem. All I did was I replaced y with what? 12 minus x. I just plugged it in. Anybody have any doubts about that? What?
I just don't know why. Wait, why do you replace it with 12 minus x?
Well, because in a system of equations, if you learned, or if you remember back to first semester when we did systems of equations, there was this thing called a substitution property.
Yeah.
Right? When there's multiple variables, you have to eliminate a variable. In order to eliminate a variable, I have to replace one with the other. Because now I have an equation with only one variable, and we can solve that now. All right? What? Of course.
Why do you put the exponent on the outside?
Because the whole y is being squared. Right? All right. So now I need to expand 12 minus x squared. And it is not 144 plus x squared. Okay, it's not 144 minus x squared. All right, that's a common mistake. All right, remember what I told you now. Look up here. If I say 3 plus 4 squared, that's not 3 squared plus 4 squared. Those things are not equal. Right? So again, you have to expand that. Now what I mean by that is this. X squared plus, come on now, 12 minus x times 12 minus x equals 74. Yes, this is the hard one. All right, pay attention. All right. So now x squared, what's 12 times 12? 144. Now we do our smiley face. Negative 12 and negative 12 makes negative 24x. And now negative x times negative x. Negative x times negative x. Positive x squared equals 74. Now again, you need to ask right away. Now we just have to combine terms. What?
Where'd you get the square of 12 minus x?
12 minus x squared is the same as 12 minus x times 12 minus x. Because I did a substitution. Wherever I see a y, I replace it with 12 minus x.
You put the y squared. You put the square from the y squared onto the 12 minus x.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm combining terms. What's x squared plus x squared? X squared plus x squared. 1x squared plus 1x squared.
2x squared.
2x squared. Come on, guys. 2x squared minus 24x plus 144 equals 74. Now I have to subtract what? 74. And if I subtract 74, I get 2x squared minus 24x plus what? 70. Is everybody happy with that? Now, does everybody see there's a 2 there? Common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, just to make the problem easier. And now I'm at x squared minus 12x plus 35 equals 0. Factors of 35 that are 12.
7 and 5.
So that becomes x minus 7, x minus 5 equals 0. So x could be
7
or x could be 5. Now, are there any extraneous solutions? No.
No.
All right, because 7 plus 5 is the same as what? 5 plus 7. Does everybody hear me on that? All right. So now, find the two numbers. What are the two numbers? 7 and 5. Yes, sir.
I don't understand how you got the 70.
70?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're having trouble with 144 minus 74.
Oh.
That's all. What?
Like, you have to do all the work for it if you just, like, know it.
Yes, that's the key. Doing all the work for now. Because like I said, I know you heard me. I can make the numbers way harder.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not, I just will not do that to you. All right, I just want you to know the method of solving it.
Okay.
All right, so you got to show the work in there. All right? And I have kids argue with me all the time. I trust me, I can make the problems harder. I would rather have easier numbers so you can learn how to do the problem. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. We're in pretty good shape here, guys. All right, let's take a look at 43. It says a rectangular flower garden is planted in a rectangular yard that is 16 meters by 12 meters. So here's my yard. All right. And then I have something 16 by 12. And then I'm going to make a rectangular flower garden in here. Does everybody agree with that? Everybody good? I just put it in the middle, but it doesn't say put it in the middle, so it doesn't really matter. Right? The garden occupies 1/6 of the area. Well, what's the area of the yard?
12 times 16.
12 times 16, which is what?
192.
I think it's 192. All right. So this whole area is 192. The area of the garden would be what? The garden is equal to 32, and the yard is equal to 192. Does everybody agree with that? Because 1/6, if I take 192 and divide it by 6, that's 32. Do you agree? So if I wanted to in here, I could just say that area is 32 square yards, right? It says, now, here is the key. It leaves a uniform strip of grass around the edge. All right, so basically what they're saying is this. Look right here, guys. So, see if you're following me. This right here is the grass that's going around my garden. Does everybody agree with that? Right, and what does uniform mean? Uniform means it's the same. Do you agree? So, now, the reason why this was hard, because I want you to pay attention now. Listen to me. Right? So, what I'm going to do is, I want you to know that from here to here is x. Do you agree with that? Help me out. You agree with that? And from here to here is what? Because it's what? Uniform. What's this distance from here to here? X. And what's this? Now, whoever said y could be correct. Except what? Except because it's uniform, that means it's the same everywhere. Is everybody agreeing with me? Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Right? So now, here is the hard part, guys. So please watch for a second. From here to here is how much?
12.
12, right? Now, please try to pay attention here. All right? So how much is it from here to here?
6.
Okay, so listen, hold up, and I want to explain what I want you to do. All right, because